John, before you do it?
I'm going to wing it.
You going to wing it? Okay.
So you're going to wing it?
Wing it.
Bye-bye.
And yet he didn't manage to notice that we're actually recording already.
Are we recording already?
Did you
God
notice?
damn it.
He's not looking at his monitor.
See right here where it says stop recording?
Stop recording?
Yeah, it's already recording.
Well, shit. Okay, fine. Here comes another short. Okay, welcome to the podcast.
Welcome.
With three old guys. We have Mike over here, and next to him is John.
Hey now.
We're here talking about different things that anybody would,
I think our topic is what our father said to us that
yeah, I was about to say that was a great intro, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
It was not the topic that we had said that we were going to come in and record today.
Very misleading.
We're going to talk about anything and everything that pops up into our head.
He's not wrong. We are probably going to end up talking about complete and utter nonsense at some point during this, because we always do.
Right.
So anyway.
But yeah,
the heifer over here is still concerned about
udders. Whatever.
Still concerned about udders.
That's just utterly ridiculous.
So the topic of conversation for this evening, or for this morning.
Yes.
It's kind of this morning. The topic is...
So I'm looking at you. Yeah. Yes.
You're killing me, Tim.
Because I'm looking at you in the camera.
The best advice that our fathers gave us.
Yes.
You were at the conversation table when we discussed it, Tim. Focus.
So we made the mistake of trying to plan ahead and spitball ideas as to what we were going to talk about, which we probably should have recorded that at the table.
Probably, yes.
Because that words.
Words.
We all have advice that our parents have given us over the years. Our dads are pretty influential for us as men. Yes. Growing up as little boys, we take a lot of information from our dads when they're available. Advice, I guess it would be advice. That's a clip that I'm going to have to cut out. There's advice that our parents gave us that sticks with us, and other advice that I have either forgotten and will probably remember as we go along, because a lot of it was similar. And the other part of the conversation is, did we actually listen to the advice and take it, or did we just completely blow it off?
And they say women said we don't talk about our emotions. So this would be a good podcast for that, because some of the things I'm about to say comes with a lot of emotions from my father.
It really does. And I mean, there were things that I have held on to. I think I mentioned it in one clip. My wife asked me the question of what was one thing that my dad always told me, and it was a great piece of advice, was growing up as a mechanic and learning to do automotives and being very mechanically inclined, which was one thing that my father was. He always told me, if somebody built it, you can rebuild it, because it still had to be made by somebody. Now, you might have to cut it, you might have to break it, you might have to peel the glue apart, whatever. You can always re-glue it. You can always, weld it back together if necessary. Whatever the case may be, you can get in there and fix whatever's broken inside.
True that.
And that's always stuck with me, in the aspect of, if it's in front of me, I might not know what I'm doing, but I can find the information, and then I can get in there and mess with it. It's one of the reasons that I'm more mechanically inclined, and I've gotten involved in a lot of things that I've gotten into, and that has helped me progress quite a bit throughout my life.
Case in point, like this podcast, you really do put in 100% of the work as far as the technical side. So I would agree.
And that's one of those things that, I've watched podcasts, and when we were talking about doing them, I knew that people were able to get these done. They were able to get the different views. They were able to get the different cameras. They were able to get the different microphones, whatnot. And I had to know, how do I set this all up? Now, do I like the 3 different perspectives on the camera? Eventually, I might end up with a much better camera that shows all 3 of us at the same time. But I think I'm going to keep the boom mics. I like having the independent.
They are nice.
Yeah,
very
I like
nice.
the boom mics, definitely.
But in doing so, I will definitely have to clean the table up some.
Well, luckily they don't see the table very much. The table, but you're not wrong. It is a spaghetti fest in here.
Oh yeah, no. If you saw it right now, now I built this table specifically for this podcast, so this is cut to fit the room. designed to have us enough room to be able to do the things that we need, so that I've got my laptop and the monitor screen and
Still have room to
Yeah.
move around.
yeah, so that we're not stepping over the top of each other in a tiny little space. It's not the big kitchen table. It's something
Yeah.
to keep everything kind of contained and work. So
Right.
there was more effort put into the setup of this than most people would think about.
Exactly.
And it is greatly appreciated.
And again, that's one of those pieces of advice my dad always told me was try to think about the people other than yourself. You can work solo and do everything that you need to do, but if you're not thinking about the people around you, you might be working fine, but you're getting in their way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, see, these are some of the things that our fathers teach us too. Like your father, that it's not just teaching you how to take something apart and then learning for yourself and using your brain to figure it out, but also has a lot to do with as we grow up as boys into men and how we think and view the world and other people. It's not just always about ourselves. I mean, that's what I'm gathering from what your father said. Would that be safe to say?
Oh yeah, there's definitely a level of that in there. Is not only was it, and again, it's full encompassing. You get all different aspects your day to day life. Not every day am I building something. Not every day am I tearing something apart. I still have to know the empathy to know to stay out of somebody else's way, to know to give them the space to do what they're going to do.
Hmm.
If I'm just walking through the store, uh, walking down an aisle and somebody's stocking shelves, I'm going to give them space to do what they got to do. It's that simple empathy, that's respect for others,
Yeah.
and that's one of those pieces of advice that I think all three of us were given by our different dads.
Hmm.
Is have some actual respect for people other than yourself. Now, I mean, there's different levels of that. We all have this varying opinions on respect.
That is true. That is true.
Yes.
I give somebody a modicum of respect until they've given me a reason not to. At the same time, there are certain levels that I expect you to earn for respect. You're not going to come in and tell me, well, I know this and I know this and I know this, and then I find out later you're a dumbass. I've got no fucking respect for you.
Yeah.
That's out the window.
It's like
I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt,
Hmm.
but there's still a certain level of respect that needs to be earned from that. And I think that's kind of where we're all at on the same table now. Obviously, you expect a certain, John over here has from various times incarcerated. There's a certain level of respect that he expects out the gate, and that's simply what
Well, to be quite fair, a lot of people say that respect is earned and not given, and I disagree with that. And the reason why is because you cannot expect for someone to give you respect if you walk up and say, "Hey, fuck you." And if you walk up and say to somebody and say, "Hi, how are you doing?" You're more likely to get respect because the way you approached and said it respectfully.
right.
But a lot
Yeah.
of people think that, oh, well, because we're human beings, I should automatically just give you respect.
Oh,
And,
hell
and,
no.
and it's like, well, yeah, that's true. But there are, like you were saying, there are some things that do have to be earned. But as just common, yeah, you have to give respect before you can expect anything back. So yeah, that's a good point. That just simply learning from what your dad had asked, how you can evolve more as a man is, it's very important. Why kids should have a father figure. But anyway, is there anything else that your father said that helped mold you into the man you are today?
There's lots of things, and I'm sure that other ones, I'm sure that there are things that my dad said over the years that will come up throughout this conversation that I'll remember my dad pointed out, hey, do this or do this. And again, some of these are going to be ones that I have become lifelong lessons and I've held throughout my entire life. And there are other ones that I remember them,
Hmm.
but I didn't stick to them.
Now, see, that's what I was going to ask you. Now, are there some things that he has said that you may not necessarily practice or quite remember in full detail, but they have affected you in the way you see life?
I think about them, and
Hmm.
I think about the fact, one of the most obvious ones that I will point out here in a second. Um, I know my dad would be disappointed, not because of it, but because I didn't take his advice. Now, to preface this, when I was a kid, I was a troublemaker. I got in a lot of trouble. I mean,
Hmm.
a ridiculous amount of trouble. My dad wasn't better. my dad got in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
And until he finally straightened up and sat down and decided to clear up. And one of the big pieces of advice that he gave me was, now, again, this is from the perspective of people who know they're getting in trouble.
Okay.
They know they're causing issues. They know that they are going to be on the radar of law enforcement. And it was, don't get the tattoo. Tattoos are identifying marks. And if you ever get into something, get into a fight, get into a brawl, get in, somebody catches you, boosting a car or boosting a radio or something like, you have tattoos. They can say he had this particular tattoo. That's a good way to identify the person, because most tattoos are pretty unique.
So he wasn't condoning it. He was just saying, use your fucking head.
Right. It was definitely, think about it. If you're going to get in trouble, don't have something that's going to be easily identifiable. I look at it from two different directions. My dad would be upset because I've got identifying marks, because I knew that we were troublemakers. At the same time, I also look at it as, when I started getting tattoos, I knew I was going to stop getting in trouble because I had identifying marks, and it was very easy. And don't get me wrong, that wasn't the primary reason to stop getting in trouble. It was just that I knew that I wasn't going to go back to getting in trouble, because now I was very easily identifiable. A retarded thought when you think about it, because even when I was in my 20s, I was 250 pounds and 6'4". I wasn't something that you could easily miss. I didn't blend into the crowd.
You kind of stood out.
Who did it? I think it was that big guy over there.
What happened? The guy that ducked under the door, he's the one that you need to go find. And then they immediately go to the tall guy.
Did you see the guy with long hair go by?
Exactly. It's that same basic thought principle. So there are definitely pieces of advice that I have taken. There are pieces of advice that I didn't take. And of course, there's the standard happy wife, happy life. Make sure that your wife stays happy and things will be better at home. Those are pretty common. That wasn't necessarily strictly my dad, but my dad was, he definitely agreed with that particular statement and tried to reinforce, make sure that your wife is happy and you'll have a better life from that perspective. Again, troublemaker dad, I also got the advice of, if you're going to go out and sleep with somebody, sleep with an old chick, because, they don't tell, they don't swell, and they're grateful as hell.
Gotta love dad, man.
I came so close to meeting the man. I wish I would have met him.
Yeah, I had the pleasure of meeting him one time, and you can't really tell, much about the man.
But you married his daughter.
Well, yeah, but you can get a sense of what the man was like, and I believe very much that he loved his kids very much, and
did you ask Chris permission?
No, he didn't live in the same state.
Oh, he didn't?
No, my dad was in,
I believe, New Mexico.
Yeah, he was in New Mexico.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I thought you were, please, may I marry your daughter? Don't kill me.
No, I didn't get the chance to do all that. But
my dad was alcohol addiction problems when he was younger, and then he got clean and sober for 40 years, and then just before he ended up passing away, he'd gone back to drinking. Ooh, by the time that John had met him, he was already, well on his way to becoming a recovering alcoholic.
Addict?
Well,
or a relapsing addict, maybe?
Definitely a relapsing.
Yeah.
Right. He'd definitely gone full blown and full bore alcoholic.
But what I know of him is that, he never did anything, just like 20% or 30%. It was either all or nothing that I got from him. So when, he wanted to get fucked up, he was getting fucked up.
Oh yeah, no.
So,
he most definitely, and I don't have a bad opinion of my dad. I the last couple of years of his life, it was sad to see him in that way.
Mm-hmm.
And I tried to get him to clear his head up and maybe step away from it. And my aunt she definitely tried to get him into pain, because he went back to drinking because of various surgeries and heart conditions, things of that nature. So he was in a lot of pain. And we all know self medication for pain is not the way to go about it.
It is not, definitely not. But I can understand between that and his worries and his stress, and I can't say I walked in his shoes, but I understand, what can persuade a person to not take the best care of yourself. But yeah, you're right. You're right. If there was one thing you can tell him, like today as a man that you've evolved into, do you think he would be proud? And if so, what would you tell him?
I don't know. I think he would be proud of what I've achieved and what I've accomplished. I don't know. That's would be entirely subjective on the conversation, depending on where we were at. My dad was so well versed in so many things that
Hmm.
picking one topic to talk to him about. I mean, obviously, on this particular one, we just got off the fact that he turned into an alcoholic, and I would have pushed more towards the there's so much more you can do in life if you're sober.
Right.
Yeah.
Of course, we have the advantage of this is 30 years later,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and we have much better medications for pain that aren't. I mean, they are addictive, but not as necessarily as heavily addictive as the ones that were available 30 years ago.
Well, what we do know now is more information about these painkillers that we take, and there is more understanding of it. Um, but yeah, I wish it was a much better situation for him to maybe not look towards the bottle to relieve his pain.
Yeah.
But then again, there's a lot of factors into that. It could be, economy, it could be stress, it could be depression, a lot of things. And from what I understand, he had all these problems, except for I don't think he really didn't have the money to buy the pain pill if he had it or whatever. But obviously, he had money to buy alcohol. But that doesn't help when you have severe depression
Right.
or
Yeah.
things are going bad in your life and you feel less of a person because of what you stood for and believed in. But we'll never know. We don't walk in his steps. But what I do know is that he did a good job raising you. I mean, look at you. You own your own home. You have land. You have buildings on the land. You got your friends close by. You're pretty rich, dude, and
Well,
that's just the way it is.
And you've lived longer than him.
I have
Yes.
outlived my dad
Yeah,
and my
yeah.
grandfather.
Mhm.
Both of them passed away by the time they were 48, and I'm now 50 years old. So I beat them by a small margin anyway.
Dun, dun,
Right.
dun, dun, dun.
What about you, Tim? What's up with you? What would you say?
Oh, my say. Let's see. My
Well,
dad gave me a lot of advice. Some of the stuff I've forgotten.
well,
Some of the
what's
stuff.
the one thing that sticks in your mind, though? I mean, that you.
Well, the one thing that my father always said, because my mother was an alcoholic.
Right. Well, yeah, this is something I know about you, and I'm sure that
Did
your
you ever
dad.
meet his mom?
I no, his mom passed away when he was
Yeah,
4.
I was
Oh,
4 years
okay,
old
good.
when my mom passed,
Oh, okay,
and
okay.
because they had a big fight, she ended up going back to the bottle, and
Mm.
yeah, that was yeah. My dad told me that story a couple of times. I have found my mother
And
when
this is
she
why you're
passed.
so against the drinking,
Yeah,
which
that's why I was.
understandably,
Yeah,
yeah, I
because
hear
she
you.
was an alcoholic, and I found out. I heard that alcoholism runs in the family. I'm like, I'm not going to do that. No, and that's one
Right.
thing my dad said. The one thing I do remember that my dad told me was, if I'm going to drink, make sure I have a designated driver
Hmm.
and drink responsibly, and I always have.
Yeah, I think if anybody was going to drink responsibly, it would be you. Because you drink like what, once every 5 years?
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes I drink once a year, but I
Oh,
make
okay,
sure
but still,
I'm.
once a
Yeah,
year.
I make sure I am home. I'm not going anywhere. I'm
And
very
even then, you fight about it. I
right.
really don't
Yeah,
want to.
I don't
Yeah,
really want. Yeah, yeah.
I
Because
can respect that.
yeah. That's how I met. Basically, I met my wife.
Hmm.
She'd go out and she'd drink. I would be the designated driver. I'd make sure she got home.
Right.
You know,
But you knew her for a long time before
yeah.
you guys finally,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. It took a
But
lot of
but your
pleading.
dad is still alive. That's
My
right.
dad
But
is still alive. Yeah,
yeah,
my
he's still
dad.
alive. He is a character just like
Yes.
you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
So
was in he was the army.
army.
Yeah
Yeah. Did he go career? No, he didn't go career, did he?
no, he didn't go career.
No,
He
but
was only
he was an MP.
he was an MP. Yes.
Yeah, he was an MP.
But he was
He
in the
got
army
out.
for what, like 20 years, maybe?
No,
I think he was in the army for like maybe 10 years,
Oh, okay.
maybe less. I'm not sure.
Mhm.
He met my mother while he was in the army.
And this is the one that passed away.
Yeah, the one that
Okay.
passed away. Yeah.
Okay. Now, was your father an alcoholic? Like,
No, he was. He drank. He drank. I
Mhm.
remember seeing him drink. He drank Pabst Blue Ribbon. That
Okay,
was
but
his
he
thing.
was a young man at the
Yeah,
time. But yeah,
yeah.
okay.
He
So he
would,
did drink, but
yeah.
socially.
He actually is the one, during the 70s. Oh,
Mhm.
here, son, take a drink of this.
Right, right.
I'd
I
take a
got
drink of
you.
that. That tastes nasty.
Yeah, but
Good boy.
it was Pabst Blue Ribbon, so it wasn't like
Yeah,
a
it was
beer.
already a no go.
Yeah, like I said, and I've never really drank. So,
Well, that's good though. Is there anything else that you can think of that's really kept you out of trouble and kept you on the
well,
right track?
basically, yeah, he basically told me stay out of trouble type of stuff. Don't smoke. The one thing I didn't listen to him about was don't smoke.
You
Because he
did not
smoked.
listen to him?
No, he smoked. My mom smoked.
No, wait a minute. You
My
don't smoke, so.
I know that, but that's the
Yeah,
one.
that's one of the things that he actually did listen to him
Oh, okay, okay, okay. I follow. Okay,
wholeheartedly.
yeah.
I went out. Well, that's the one thing.
Very
I
good
went out
advice.
with a
Very
friend
good
of
advice.
mine. We grabbed this pack of my mother's cigarettes, and he said, "My friend's like, here, smoke this one, smoke this one." And I ended up making. I tried to write my name in in my bathroom. That's when I
With
realized
the cigarettes or
no,
your? Oh
afterwards.
no.
Yeah.
You did not.
And I had to clean it all up. My dad came in. Oh my God, what happened? My mother's like, oh my God, If you knew my mother was
Yeah.
Was that
Dorothy.
Yeah, that was Dorothy.
Yeah,
that was
Dorothy.
your,
Yeah, that was my
your,
second mom.
yeah.
My mom actually. That's who I
Well,
know.
I mean, she raised you since you were 4. So.
Yeah, so she was my mom. She was
There
it.
you go. Definitely your mom.
Yeah.
Put in the time and the
Yeah.
effort.
But
Well,
yeah,
that's good, though.
he told me, I didn't listen to him about that. I learned a lesson.
Right.
My dad taught me how to drive, and I'm still learning.
Oh, is that who we can blame for that?
Well, he makes it across the country to see you every year. It seems
Yeah.
like so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Oh,
good,
so
though.
that would be the advice that he gave him that he didn't listen to.
There you go. I would have to agree with
Oh,
that.
stop it!
Looking out for potholes. What? You're right into it. That's
Watch,
crazy.
Yeah,
watch that pothole. Which pothole?
That was a pothole. That was a Grand Canyon.
Yeah, Discount Tire loves you.
If you hit a deer, stop.
No. We don't veer for deer.
No, that's truck driving. Buicks don't handle it so well.
Yeah, they don't. They
No, they
really don't.
Actually, handle it better than some cars.
Well,
You're not wrong. I mean, you remember Lori with that
that red Blazer.
No, that Cavalier
The
that
Cavalier
she had.
okay.
Oh my God.
She totaled that car on that deer.
Yeah.
He hit it with a Buick, and it only busted out the headlight. I mean, we ended up losing the transmission because he drove it for an additional 10 miles. But
Yeah, that was not good.
Yeah.
Not good at all.
More damage was done to the car by him than the deer.
Ooh, there's somebody there.
That we got an owl in the studio. Yeah, you. That's crazy.
But yeah, I did. Yeah, definitely stay out of trouble. The normal growing up in Michigan.
Mhm.
Hanging out with my friends, riding bikes until the sun comes up, and then I hear the oogle horn to get me home.
And
Right.
I would honestly say your dad did an amazing job raising you. Considering that you were in Saginaw. You were in Saginaw.
Saginaw, yeah.
Saginaw,
Actually, it was
Michigan.
Carlton. It was Carlton.
But it's just outside of Saginaw,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it might as well be Saginaw.
Yeah,
That's like saying Buckeyes, not Phoenix.
There you go. Exactly.
You were in an area that in the 70s and early 80s got into a lot of trouble.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, that and they wrote songs about places where you lived.
in Saginaw, Michigan. Yes.
Yeah, no, they were known for getting in trouble, and you didn't. So your dad actually
I
did.
stayed out of trouble for 50 years.
Yeah, your dad.
I didn't go to jail until I was 50. And that was because I didn't turn the
Yeah,
lights on.
what kind of bird don't fly?
Yeah, no, your dad did an amazing job of raising you in a position so that you didn't actually end up getting in trouble, which is
Right.
something that the other two of us don't have the advantage. We both had dads that
Yeah.
raised us, and we got in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
Lots of trouble.
Yeah, I appreciate that from my dad. I love you, Dad. If you're watching, hopefully.
That's good, though. That's good. Is there anything else that pops in your mind that you can think of?
Well, the one big thing was my work a lot of my work ethic, getting me up, go to work, getting up, go to school, getting up. I had trouble like most kids getting up.
Your dad did have a really good work ethic. I remember that even after he retired, he continued to work for another 15, 20
Yeah.
years in that CNC shop.
Yeah, he
Probably because
was
he
doing
was bored. Like,
that.
I got nothing
he didn't
to
want
do.
retire, and
Might as
he's
well
like,
make money at it.
Yeah.
Well, he was good at it too, so
Yeah.
I'm not gonna slide
Yeah.
him for that.
Yeah, and come on, you're talking about earning trust. When you met me, you took me in there and had me doing construction work. And the first thing you said to me is, "Well, I need you to go build me a header." What did I say?
What the fuck's a header?
Exactly. I was honest about the whole thing. I'm like, what the hell's a header? And
I
I
mean,
learned.
to be fair, when I first started my own crew working in construction, I finally got promoted to where I was going to be a foreman on a crew, and I had to come up with my own guys. Tim was a friend of a friend, and I had zero idea about him, and he had zero idea about what we were doing. But he needed a job, and I was willing to hire. So
40 years later.
40 years later.
um,
That's about 30.
about 30,
About
32.
29, 30. Because Christopher's now 30.
Amber's 30.
Amber's 30. Oh, yeah.
So yeah, it would be right around 30 years.
Right about 30 years.
That I mean, for the first 2 years, he just worked with me, and then we became like inseparable best friends and have been ever since.
Yeah.
Um,
He taught me how to drive a truck.
I did teach you how to drive a
Yeah.
truck.
Well.
I taught you how to drive a truck.
Yeah. You probably taught him well. Maybe you didn't perceive it well, but you still did it professionally.
Yeah.
You know,
He drove a truck for 10 years. I
Yeah.
mean, you drove it for a long time, so it's not like you didn't slack. You're not
No.
some of these guys out there. Well, I'm a truck driver and I've been driving for 3 years. I've got shirts older than you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're just a fucking steering wheel pusher.
I was
That's
driving. I was driving for 6 months, and then I ended up knocking. I was on the phone with my HR department. That idiot.
Which brings us on, because now there's the three of us here, and one of the things that we all have in common is I'm obviously still a truck driver. I drive for a company. Tim used to drive, and he actually used to drive for the same company that I did.
Yep, a lot of companies used to drive for.
His honesty killed him there. Anytime he would hit a curb or bump a dock wrong or brush a tree, he reported it. That was too many reportables. They ended up having to let him go.
Yeah.
His honesty got him there. Most guys are like, "Oh, I hit a tree." Nobody ever needs to hear that shit.
Yeah.
You're going to brush trees across the top of your trailer. It's part of life.
all the time.
And on the other hand, I was a driver. Tim was a driver. John wasn't a driver, but his dad was.
Yes, my father was a driver for about 50 years before he retired. But yeah, that's the one thing that unites all of us is that we are all involved in some way, shape, or form of truck driving. And one of the few things that my father, because my father was a very few man of words, did I say that right?
A man of few words.
There we go.
Man of few words.
But he would always tell me that you can't do shit if you don't have shit. And basically, what he's telling me is that whether you're working or you're saving up to buy something, basically you just can't do anything if you don't have anything. And he was trying to encourage me with my work ethic.
That's kind of that pyramid setup. You've got three things. You can only pick two. You can either have time and money, or you can have energy and money, or you can have time and energy. You can't have all three of them at the same time.
Right.
Because if you've got time and you've got money, you don't have any energy. If you've got energy and time, you don't have any money.
Right. But yeah, he was always trying to get me on the right direction in life, and I am the latter of the two guys that are next to me because I chose the wrong way to go, and my father was always concerned about what I would get into if I would even make it home within a week or so for for the shit that I was getting into. But some of the things he used to tell me, because I would ask him, I'd say, why is it that you're with my mom so much? Because me and my mom, we fought like cats and dogs, and my dad would have to hear it after being at work for 12 hours a day. And I've never seen a man love a woman as much as my father did, and he always said, no matter what, that at the end of the day, that's still my wife. And I guess what that taught me is that he was a loyal man. Even though that she pissed him off so bad, and it got bad like quite a few times. And
now we're old enough, we understand.
I understand what he was going through, but at the time I didn't. But it showed me that no matter what, you have to stick it out with whatever it is you're doing. If you say you're going to do it, do it. And I was not a man of my word. I didn't always just say, okay, well, I'm going to do it, and then I would do it. I'd find an excuse. But then again, there's a whole lot of mess that goes along with making those decisions, like addiction and stuff like that.